I'm writing words on the world's ending because I cannot keep pretending that this isn't the end. I cannot sit here and proclaim that life will remain the same, that we won't be swept under a current of water or heat, or melt from the cracks in the street before the earth is pure again. I cannot sit here and suggest that we are more than temporary guests on this planet of upset. This earth was not given to us, rather lent. But we are brutes with cavalier attitudes that believe that this earth was sent to us, that this earth's will was designed to be bent to us, that this was all that this earth meant to us. An opportunity for profit, an opportunity to do as much damage to this earth until we fall off of it, an opportunity to divide and conquer, an opportunity to betray and dishonour, to sully the earth we were supposed to treasure with every step. And now this earth is angry and unhinged and unkept. It awoke in rage and fire and thunder as you slept. I'm writing words on world's ending because I cannot keep sending thoughts of hope and optimism pending, reaching no other end. Disturbed in transit, interrupted, rude awakening, disrupted by poisoned minds, corrupted to the point of no return. To the point of letting the world burn, or drown, or be swallowed by itself. I mean, why should planets care about your health when you show so little interest in theirs? I mean, really, why should this planet care and preserve our water, preserve our air, protect your faces, your bodies, your hair, when it mattered most? We were barely there. Where were we? Like, what happened? What happened to us? When did everything get so glaringly terrifying? When did we start dying? The first ember lit before I even came to exist, bored into a forest of fire, wondering what the hell I missed? What happened? How on earth was it possible for us to end up here? And how am I supposed to deal with it? How am I supposed to process that trauma, the real of it? I am writing words on world's ending because it is a way of me tending to my own garden. An attempt at processing grief. An attempt at turning over a new leaf. It is an opportunity to look in the face of calamity and ask, what's next? And waiting to either receive no answer or one that I would never expect. It's my way of talking to and about death without letting myself think about it too much. It's my way of reminding myself that I am here now. I am here now. And so are you. Hello, by the way, thank you for coming. And there once was a time where that was simply just enough before politics and corruption and all of the excess stuff. It was just us. Existing and loving and fighting and challenging and resisting before we caused it to all start melting and wilting and twisting, before we started throwing and pissing it all away, before we started selling days in exchange for credit. Before we burnt the manual, before we even read it, before we forgot the safe word, before we said it, before it was too late. I am writing words on world's ending because soon there will be no one listening on the other end. A heavy start, I know. Listen, I apologize, but hey, welcome to my show. I mean, seriously, did you really expect me to be an optimist in a show about the apocalypse? Smiling through this, our lethargy and our hubris, we lose all of this. I mean, maybe later on there will be a more hopeful note, but for now, please excuse me as I attempt to emote on the hopelessness that I feel, as I attempt to understand how any of this is real. I am writing words on world's ending because I cannot keep pretending that this isn't the end. The kids are not all right. We were born into a planet that was set alight in secret. We have a limited time to make it right, and at this point, a lot of us are just too weak to fight. The kids are not all right. We are currently experiencing the second recession in our lifetimes. There is a suicide crisis among us to the point that organisations are struggling to fund their helplines. And for those of us here in not so Great Britain, our mouths are toilets for the Tories to shit in. Raising taxes on the working classes, eliminating healthcare for trans and non-binary masses. And meanwhile, their supporters believe that Scotland's LGBT class is morally unforgivable. The kids are not all right. And here we are at the biggest event for this crisis, and Boris Johnson, our esteemed leader, treats it like this joke. Attending from bigoted patriotism masked as pride, saying he will attend as long as he sees his flag flying high. As if silk flags are equivalent to seas on rise, forests on fire, mass droughts as our people die. 150,000 people die from climate change every year. And he's acting as if he's doing a charitable thing by being here. And not the necessary thing. And then he has the audacity to get up in front of people and say, "Oh, remember when Kermit the Frog said it's not easy being green? Well, he's wrong. Grow the fuck up, man!" Oh, and how dare you sully the name of such a fantastic frog. The kids are not all right, but we are trying. We are doing everything that we can to stop our species from dying. And we are met with constant abuse and threats and upset from, you guessed it, the older generations who have the time to correct it. Ella and Caitlin McEwen are two sisters, and they started a petition for McDonald's and Burger King to make their toys out of more sustainable materials to help with the crisis. They were criticised online, they were called arrogant, spoilt, entitled. Thankfully, in spite of this, their petition did incredibly well, and it did exact change. But there are still fully grown adults out there complaining about this petition online and in person. Do you know how old Ella and Caitlin McEwen were at the time of this petition? 7 and 9. They were 7 and 9 years old. That was 2 years ago, so now they're 11 and 9. And they've done more to help with this crisis than our political leaders. What? Scared to step outside of the lines? Make a stink, cause a stir, claiming they never knew how bad these things were. Oh no. Live theatre, folks. You've heard of Greta Thunberg. Right, I hope. A lot of this is going to be lost on you if you don't. In 2020, a Canadian oil company created a pornographic image of Greta Thunberg and plastered it on their vehicles. At this time, she was 16 years old. Boris Johnson called her a bunny hugger, as if that's a fucking insult. I genuinely believe there's not one thing this man can do correctly. And everyone's favourite divorced dad, Piers Morgan, in 2019, called her unstable, a spoilt brat, saying that this was not an issue that a child should be involved in. And on that thought, we agree. We wholeheartedly agree. This is not an issue that a child should be involved in. This is not an issue for Greta, aged 18, for Ella and Caitlin, 11 and 9. For Leslie Matunke, age 16, for Lily Platt, age 12, even 21-year-old me. This should not be their responsibility. When I was 12, I thought the worst thing was having store-brand fish fingers for tea. These kids are aware of life-threatening catastrophe because you dropped the ball. And you're not taking any responsibility at all. You know that you fucked it, so you're pretending it's not there. And you're scared, but you're scared of admitting that you're scared, so you pretend that you don't care. Listen, I get that. I'm fucking terrified. I constantly think about when I'm going to die, and now that's been decided for me. That responsibility has been thrust into my hands with no empathy for my Sunday brunch plans. The kids are not alright. activism is currently on the precipice of becoming a crime in the UK. And those whose rights have never been fought for in activism see this as totally okay. They're just noisy kids. They should go play inside. We don't want to hear what they have to say. Please, hide them away. And the government says that this is for our safety? And to protect our democracy? And to protect our police force? I just find it kind of funny that this happened after the vigil for Sarah Everard, in which attendants did nothing of offence. The police, however, pinned down, pepper sprayed and tased attendants, abused their power at a vigil for a woman who was murdered at the hands of the police. And then protests get banned. Ban the kids making a fuss. But I don't understand. If we make the police feel unsafe or uncomfortable, could they not just hail a bus? I've been noticing some quite strong parallels for a while between acts of queerphobia and climate denial. Both are symptoms of a fear of change, of adaptation, of relinquishing control, of coming to terms with the fact that we are not performing in permanent roles. A wise person once said, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. That person was Yoda, but that's not important. But it is true though. We fear what we fear because we don't understand it. I'm a queer person, and literally the only difference between me and literally anyone else in the world is that I'm just slightly more attractive. Why are you laughing? But I've been called a faggot in the street by people I've never met, and I probably never will meet, and will never know me. I've been intimidated and quietly threatened, and even pushed on nights out because of how I present myself and the people I spend my time with. When we look at something that we don't understand and we refuse to educate ourselves on it, we reject it, either by pretending it's not there or physically removing it. Queerphobia and climate denial are both symptoms of thanatophobia, the fear of dying. Specifically the process of dying, of aging, of becoming obsolete, of wondering what and why and never knowing the answer, to the point that we'll all fucking die. Listen, ignorance is bliss until it harms the vulnerable and obliterates all of this. You are not entitled to my body, and you are not entitled to the earth. This is not man's skin. This is not woman's skin. This is not anyone's skin. This is my skin. And this is not your earth. And it's not my earth. This is Earth's earth. Why are we so dangerously obsessed with claiming and controlling something that isn't ours? Focus on your own dying body, your own broken down car on your road to nowhere. The kids are not all right. It is one thing living in a burning world. It is another thing living in a police state in a burning world. It's another thing living in a queerphobic police state in a burning world. It's another thing living in a queerphobic police state that's run by a bumbling Willington Club alumna in a burning world. I write the words on world's ending because I cannot keep pretending that I can't hear the drip. Every so often, for the past 10 minutes, you've been hearing it too. It interrupts the flow, the pace, it distracts you from everything. It strips you of all agency, of all freedom of thought. Because when you catch the drip, by the drip, you are caught. I've always had a connection to water. I felt comforted by it. I had a connection with the ocean. When I swam in it, I felt held. I felt cradled. I would suddenly feel more able to take on whatever life was trying to throw. It helped me process trauma and grief. It helped me grow. It's a perspective reset. It's an incomparable energy. I honestly honestly struggle to describe what this water has meant to me. But then I started hearing the drip. It happens suddenly. It constantly chimes in to remind me that this water is angry. And with each drip is a drop in this water that adds to it slowly but surely. And the more that we abuse our planet, the more that this water grows poorly. But in its unwellness, it doesn't shrivel or weaken or shrink, it grows and it multiplies bigger than we can possibly think, to the point that it will tower and consume and swallow. And we will have no choice but to follow the wave. By 2050, parts of Scotland are predicted to be completely underwater. I currently live in Falkirk, one of the places that is predicted to be periodically submerged by the time that I am 50 years old. Regardless of whether or not I am still living there at this time, that is my home eradicated, and I can't articulate how painful that is to think about. But the drip prevents me from thinking about anything else. The drip is not a back of the head thought. It is not a harmless warning sign. It is an incessant taunt, a threat, a taste of how irreversibly damaging this can get if we do not act now. We are desensitized to trauma and chaos because we live in a melting pot of it. We are disconnected from this crisis because we are watching it happen through screens. We watch stories, TikToks, and fleets of evil-colored skies and seas on fire, burning with the rage and passion equivalent to our desire to fucking stay alive. And we watch these things happen and complain and bitch and moan until we realize we are watching them happen through the camera of our own phones. And then they will be gone, and us with them. And we won't be seen as any more valuable as anything else, any more deserving of life. We are staring down barrels of guns and dancing on edges of knives. And I cannot stop thinking about it, this threat on being alive. I am writing words on world ending because I can't keep accepting that this is the end. To lay down my weapons in defeat. To come to terms with the fact I don't know who or what I'm going to meet on the other end. To say goodbye to my family, to my friends, because some fucking old guys are selfish bellends. And I am terrified. Because I know there are people out there who specifically hate the thought of people like me, like us being alive. And those people hold more power over the earth than I do, than I will ever hold. I am writing words on world's ending because I know that I cannot give up now. Even though I don't know what to do, even though I am tired physically and in my soul, I am tired. I am not completely devoid of hope. I genuinely do believe if there is anyone that has the ability to overcome and to cope, it is my generation. We are ushering in an age of love and of openness and of understanding, and we will be the people by whom the earth is saved. And the people that fear us and reject us don't even realize yet that we are the fucking wave. Because while we fear the drip, we are growing as well. With each microaggression, with each condemnation to hell, we are rising. And we will tower over nature without claiming it as our own. And we will tower over everything you built while you continue to stare at your phone. And before you know it, that power that you thought you had will pale in comparison to ours. Because ours is informed by goodness and kindness and honesty. Those are our powers. I am writing words on world's ending because we still have the power to say that no, this isn't the end. If you are a young person that feels neglected, not listened to, I'm there with you. I understand that you feel neglected by generations prior, that you feel like your identity, your validity is constantly debated by powers higher. But you are a weapon of mass reconstruction. You are something else. We are something else. We are a change that is needed. We are a change that is fashionably late. You do not have to sit there and patiently wait for someone to give you the microphone. You can have mine, I'm literally almost done with it. This is your time now. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. They will continue to push you down, or at least try. But you're here, and you are mighty, and you are high. I am writing words on world's ending because you have the power to say that this isn't the end. Everything ends. They can be catastrophic, but they can be long. They can be morally right or morally wrong. It could be the sad ending of a tragic film, or the massive euphoric ending of your favourite song. Everything ends, but exactly how just depends on you.